Yeah. Well, this is a tough one because, contrary to what the president of the United States said 2 months ago, namely that Russia has already lost, Russia has already won. Now, in other words, it's not 360 degrees around, it's 180 degrees wrong. Okay. Now, if that's the case, and Ukrainians don't have any more shells for their artillery or their tanks, which they don't. If they have no more young men to man their defense lines, and they're using women now and people between the age of 17 and 70, latest I heard. Well, a humane approach to this would be to say, look, Mr. President, fighting this war against Russia to the last Ukrainian just never was a good idea. It's not a humane thing to do. Let's knock it off. Now, over the past week, we've had Bill Burns, head of the CIA, who does negotiations secretly sometimes, and we've had our defense secretary, Austin, both visit Kiev. What did they tell Zelensky? Well, I don't know, but it has to be. Look, Congress isn't giving us any more money, but we don't have any more shells to give you. We had some, but then we give it to Israel. Uh, you better figure out what to do now because we're just not being able to support you any longer. And so maybe you ought to talk to Russians. Now, Zelensky, pretty stubborn guy, he's not going to talk to the Russians, so maybe he needs to be moved aside. Uh, it's just, it's come to the point where Biden and Blinken and Sullivan and Nuland realize that they've lost this thing despite their rhetoric. And what are they going to do? Because it's an election year coming up. If they lose the war, they lose the election, and my friends, they might lose their freedom. There's lots of evidence in various court documents showing that the Bidens were taking bribes, that Blinken orchestrated this thing with all these 51 intelligence directors to discredit the laptop that Hunter Biden had. And of course, Sullivan was responsible for the whole RussiaGate thing. I mean, it wasn't Brennan and Comey working alone. They were taking, this, and Comey admitted why he could take such liberties with the law in his book. And he said, and I quote, I was operating in an environment where Hillary Rodham Clinton was sure to be the next president of the United States, period, end quote. Well, if you're operating in that environment, I mean, you take liberties with the law because when push comes to shove, you're never going to be prosecuted, and you might become justice secretary, attorney general, or So in other words, these people were pretty venal and pretty small and looking at these things. They never thought Trump would win, and then when Trump did win, they mounted this massive, massive attack on any opportunity to repair relations with Russia, and to blacken him by saying he was in Putin's pocket. I hold no brief from Donald Trump, but fair is fair, honest is honest. That's what they did, and I think that both political parties are so corrupt now that I'm just really glad for my own personal thing is that Jill Stein is in a race now. I supported her last time. I think she has her head screwed on right, and I think that whatever the odds are, I have somebody that can be proud of voting for.